Historic $100 million settlement. Trump and Meta forge new path in digital communication standards. Date, January 30, 2025. Overview. In a groundbreaking agreement that marks a significant turning point in the relationship between technology platforms and political figures, Meta has consented to pay former President Donald Trump $25 million. This settlement resolves a lawsuit he initiated regarding the suspension of his accounts on Facebook and Instagram in the aftermath of the January 6, 2021 Capitol riot. 2025, Meta announces the $25 million settlement with Trump, indicating a crucial concession by the tech company. Settlement details. The settlement consists of $25 million, with approximately $22 million earmarked for the establishment of Trump's presidential library. The remaining $3 million will cover Trump's legal fees and those of other plaintiffs associated with the lawsuit. Importantly, Meta has clarified that it does not admit to any wrongdoing as part of this settlement. Strategic changes at Meta. The agreement reflects a marked evolution in the policies of Meta, particularly under the leadership of CEO Mark Zuckerberg. Following the settlement, Zuckerberg has publicly shown support for Trump and implemented significant policy changes to align Meta more closely with the values of the former administration. This includes enhanced speech policies. Meta has adopted more permissive speech policies across its platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and WhatsApp, allowing for a broader range of political expression. Elimination of diversity initiatives. The company has reportedly moved away from certain diversity and inclusion programs that had been in place, reflecting a strategic realignment toward a more traditional corporate ethos. Financial performance. Despite the political implications of the settlement, Meta reported robust financial results for the fourth quarter of 2024. The company experienced a 21% increase in revenue. Total revenue reached $48.4 billion, surpassing analyst expectations and showcasing the effectiveness of its advertising strategies. 49% growth in profit. Profits soared to $20.8 billion, up from $14 billion the previous year. However, the company also issued a cautious revenue forecast for the upcoming quarter, projecting between $39.5 billion and $41.8 billion, which fell short of investor expectations and raised some concerns about future growth. Competition and future outlook. During a recent investor call, Zuckerberg acknowledged the emerging competition posed by DeepSeek, a Chinese startup that has made headlines for its innovative AI technology at significantly lower costs than its American counterparts. He indicated that there is a need for a cohesive digital communication standard, emphasizing the importance of establishing an American framework in the face of global competition. Implications of the settlement. Political dynamics. The settlement may reshape Trump's political trajectory as he continues to engage with social media platforms, potentially enhancing his outreach to supporters in the lead-up to future elections. Corporate responsibility. Meta's decision to settle highlights the ongoing tension between tech companies and the responsibilities they bear in moderating content, particularly when it intersects with political discourse. The settlement sets a precedent for how tech companies might navigate similar disputes in the future. Free speech considerations. The adjustments in Meta's policies may influence the broader conversation about free speech on digital platforms. As companies grapple with the balance between preventing harm and allowing diverse opinions. Differences in media coverage. Various news outlets have emphasized different aspects of the settlement. NPR focuses on the implications for social media policies and the evolving standards for digital communication. CNN highlights the broader ramifications for Trump's political future and Meta's strategic orientation. The New York Times provides an in-depth analysis of Meta's financial performance and internal policy shifts following the settlement. Conclusion. The historic $100 million settlement between Trump and Meta marks a pivotal moment in the ongoing discourse surrounding digital communication, free speech, and the accountability of tech companies. as Meta navigates its relationship with political figures and reassesses its policies. This agreement underscores the intricate dynamics between technology and governance in the 21st century. The evolving landscape of digital communication standards will likely continue to influence both corporate strategies and political narratives in the years to come. The settlement between Donald Trump and Meta involving a $25 million payment is notable for several counterintuitive aspects that challenge prevailing assumptions about the relationship between technology companies and political figures. 1. Tech company concessions. The fact that a major tech company like Meta would agree to pay a significant amount to a political figure like Trump is surprising. Traditionally, one might assume that tech giants would stand firmly against perceived political pressure, especially following the controversies surrounding misinformation and harmful content. However, this settlement indicates a willingness to compromise and align more closely with political figures, particularly ones with substantial influence over a large voter base. 2. Reversal of policy direction. Meta's shift to adopt more permissive speech policies after the settlement contradicts the increasing trend of tech companies tightening content moderation in response to public outcry over misinformation and extremist content. This move suggests that the motivations for policy changes can be more complex, potentially influenced by corporate interests and political alignments rather than solely by a commitment to public safety or ethical standards. 3. Financial performance versus market expectations. Meta's strong financial performance in Q4 2024 contrasts sharply with its lowered revenue forecasts for the upcoming quarter. While a 21% increase in revenue might suggest robust growth and stability, the company's projections reveal a disconnect between actual performance and investor expectations. This scenario challenges the assumption that strong quarterly results will uniformly lead to optimistic market reactions. For public support for Trump, Zuckerberg's public support for Trump and the alignment of Meta's policies with Trump's administration is counterintuitive in a landscape where many corporations strive to distance themselves from controversial political figures. This suggests a re-evaluation of the corporate approach to politics, where aligning with influential leaders could be seen as a strategic move to foster favorable regulatory conditions in public relations. 5. Impact on diversity initiatives. The elimination of diversity and inclusion initiatives within Meta following the settlement is particularly striking. In an era where many companies emphasize corporate social responsibility and diversity, Meta's regression raises questions about the motivations behind such initiatives. It suggests that corporate policies may be more susceptible to political winds than previously thought, challenging the notion that social progress within corporations is a steadfast priority. 6. Emerging competition from DeepSeek. Meta's acknowledgement of a competitor like DeepSeek, which has managed to create AI advancements at a fraction of the cost, highlights the unpredictable nature of technological competition. The expectation that established firms like Meta would maintain their dominance is challenged by the emergence of innovative players that can disrupt traditional business models, suggesting a more volatile and competitive landscape than anticipated. 7. User base growth amid financial uncertainty. Despite the financial uncertainties and losses in specific divisions like the Reality Labs, Meta continues to grow its user base. This indicates that user engagement does not always correlate with financial success, contradicting the assumption that a solid user base guarantees profitability. It raises questions about the sustainability of user engagement in the face of declining ad revenues or shifts in corporate strategy. These counterintuitive elements suggest that the intersection of technology, politics, and corporate strategy is more complex and dynamic than commonly accepted narratives, highlighting the need for a nuanced understanding of these evolving relationships. The recent settlement between Donald Trump and Meta, wherein Meta agreed to pay $25 million following the suspension of Trump's accounts on Facebook and Instagram, carries significant implications that are likely to be overlooked by many. Here are the important content points that merit deeper consideration. 1. Financial allocation and its implications. Of the $25 million settlement, $22 million is earmarked for Trump's presidential library. with the remainder allocated for legal fees. This financial arrangement is significant as it not only provides Trump with immediate resources but also solidifies his political legacy by funding a library that will serve as a repository of his presidency. The establishment of a presidential library is a strategic move to shape historical narratives, and it will likely be used to further Trump's political agenda and reinforce his base. This reflects a continuing evolution in how political figures leverage such institutions for influence and outreach. 2. Zuckerberg's shift in policy stance. Mark Zuckerberg's apparent shift toward a more accommodating stance regarding Trump and the Republican Party is noteworthy. The changes he has implemented include more permissive speech policies across Meta's platforms, suggesting a departure from previous content moderation practices that were seen as restrictive. This shift may signal a broader trend where tech companies adjust their policies in response to political pressures, potentially prioritizing free speech over the previously prioritized guidelines aimed at curbing misinformation and hate speech. The implications of this shift could lead to greater polarization on social media platforms, as more extreme views may gain visibility without the constraints of moderation. 3. Meta's financial performance versus future outlook. Despite reporting strong financial growth, 21% revenue increase to $48.4 billion and 49% profit increase to $20.8 billion, Meta's conservative revenue forecast for the upcoming quarter raises questions about its sustainability. The company's decision to project lower expectations could indicate underlying challenges in maintaining growth momentum, particularly as they ramp up spending on infrastructure and AI development. Investors may overlook this cautious outlook, focusing instead on immediate financial gains, which could lead to volatility if Meta fails to meet these revised expectations. 4. Emerging competition and strategic focus on AI. Zuckerberg's comments regarding emerging competition from DeepSeek, a Chinese AI startup, highlight a significant area of concern that many may not fully appreciate. The competitive landscape for AI development is shifting, with companies like DeepSeek posing a threat through cost-effective innovations. Zuckerberg's emphasis on establishing an American standard for AI suggests a potential nationalistic approach that could influence how tech companies interact globally. This is crucial in understanding how geopolitical tensions may shape the future of digital platforms and communication standards, which could lead to a fragmented digital ecosystem. 5. Cultural and political ramifications. The settlement signifies a cultural shift in the relationship between tech giants and political figures. By accommodating Trump, Meta is not just addressing a legal issue but is also potentially setting a precedent for how tech companies interact with political leaders in the future. This could lead to more instances where political figures leverage their influence over social media companies to dictate terms of engagement, thereby complicating the landscape of digital communication and accountability. 6. Impact on policy and regulation. The agreement may also provoke discussions around regulatory frameworks for social media platforms. As tech companies like Meta redefine their policies in response to political pressures, there could be calls for increased oversight and regulation to ensure accountability. This could lead to debates over the balance between free speech and the responsibility of platforms to curb harmful content. A nuanced discussion that deserves more attention given the complexities involved. Conclusion. The $100 million settlement between Trump and Meta is not just a financial transaction, it is a watershed moment that underscores the evolving dynamics of digital communication, the influence of political figures on tech policy, and the implications for future regulatory measures. As Meta adjusts its approach to accommodate political pressures, the long-term effects on digital communication standards and corporate responsibility may be profound, warranting closer scrutiny from observers and policymakers alike. 1. Settlement details and implications. The landmark $25 million settlement between Meta and Donald Trump signifies a pivotal moment in the intersection of politics and social media. The allocation of $22 million towards Trump's presidential library highlights the intertwining of political funding and digital communication. The decision by Meta to not admit wrongdoing reflects the complexities tech companies face in navigating free speech issues and potential legal liabilities. This aspect warrants an in-depth discussion on the implications for future interactions between political figures and social media platforms, as well as the potential impact on censorship and user engagement policies. 2. Zuckerberg's policy shift. Mark Zuckerberg's evident shift in stance towards Trump and the Republican Party illustrates a broader trend of tech executives aligning with political power structures. The introduction of more permissive speech policies across Meta's platforms raises questions regarding corporate responsibility in moderating content and the ethical implications of such policies. Analyzing this change can lead to a deeper understanding of how social media platforms shape political discourse and the potential consequences of prioritizing profitability and political alignment over user safety and community standards. 3. Financial performance context. Meta's strong financial performance in Q4 2024 juxtaposed with a lower than expected revenue forecast for the upcoming quarter introduces a critical discussion point regarding the sustainability of its business model. Despite significant growth in revenue and profits, concerns about future earnings highlight potential vulnerabilities in Meta's strategy, especially in light of mounting competition from companies like the Chinese startup DeepSeek. This aspect invites analysis of how market dynamics influence corporate strategies in the tech sector, particularly in relation to emerging technologies and the evolving landscape of digital communication. 4. Strategic focus on digital communication standards. Zuckerberg's emphasis on establishing cohesive digital communication standards amid competition from emerging tech firms underscores the strategic importance of this settlement. The need for a globally recognized standard raises essential questions about the role of American tech companies in shaping international digital policies and the potential ramifications for global communication practices. Exploring this topic can provide insights into the balance between innovation competition and regulatory frameworks, as well as the implications for user privacy and the integrity of digital spaces. These points serve as a foundation for a comprehensive analysis of the evolving relationship between technology politics and the standards governing digital communication in an increasingly interconnected world. 1. The Microsoft antitrust case 1998-2001. In a landmark legal battle, the United States government took Microsoft to court accusing the tech giant of antitrust violations related to its monopolistic practices in the software market. The case centered around Microsoft's bundling of its Internet Explorer web browser with its Windows operating system, which was seen as an attempt to stifle competition from other browsers like Netscape. In 2001, the case was settled with Microsoft agreeing to share its application programming interfaces APIs with third-party companies, effectively changing how it conducted business and leading to a more competitive market environment. 2. The Tobacco Masters Settlement Agreement 1998. In 1998, the four largest tobacco companies in the United States reached a historic settlement, with 46 states paying $206 billion over 25 years to cover the healthcare costs associated with smoking-related illnesses. This agreement also imposed restrictions on tobacco advertising and marketing, particularly aimed at protecting youth. It marked a significant shift in how tobacco companies operated and was instrumental in shaping public health policy regarding smoking. 3. The NFL Concussion Settlement 2013. The National Football League (NFL) faced a class action lawsuit from former players who claimed the league failed to protect them from the long-term effects of concussions and brain injuries. In 2013, the NFL agreed to a settlement worth $765 million, which provided compensation for medical exams, treatment, and research into brain injuries. This case highlighted the responsibility of sports organizations in ensuring player safety and led to significant changes in policies regarding player health and safety protocols in professional sports. The $100 million settlement between Donald Trump and Meta marks a significant turning point in the landscape of digital communication and corporate governance, with implications that extend far beyond the immediate financial agreement. This settlement, finalized on January 29, 2025 could reshape the interactions between technology companies and political figures, influencing policies on free speech, content moderation, and the balance of power in digital spaces. Predictions for the future. 1. Enhanced collaboration between tech giants and politicians. This settlement could pave the way for a more collaborative relationship between major technology companies and political figures, particularly those aligned with right-wing ideologies. As Meta's leadership appears to be aligning itself more closely with Trump, we might see other tech companies following suit to avoid potential legal battles or public backlash. This could lead to a trend where tech companies adjust their policies to cater to political demands, potentially undermining the principles of impartiality and fairness in content moderation. 2. Changes in digital communication standards. Mark Zuckerberg's emphasis on establishing a cohesive digital communication standard could lead to the formation of new guidelines that prioritize certain types of speech. As Meta introduces more permissive speech policies, this could inspire other platforms to adopt similar approaches, resulting in a fragmented and inconsistent landscape where different platforms operate under varying standards. The potential rise of a free speech ethos could encourage more divisive and polarizing content, impacting public discourse in significant ways. 3. Increased regulatory scrutiny. As tech companies like Meta engage in settlements that appear politically motivated, we can anticipate heightened scrutiny from regulators. Governments across the globe may respond by drafting stricter regulations concerning content moderation practices and the relationship between tech companies and political entities. This could lead to legal challenges and legislative efforts aimed at ensuring greater accountability and transparency in how platforms manage user content and political communications. 4. Financial and market implications for Meta. While Meta's recent financial performance indicates growth, the company's forecast for lower than expected revenues in the upcoming quarter raises concerns among investors. The financial implications of the settlement, especially the allocation of funds to Trump's presidential library, could lead to questions about Meta's long-term strategic focus and its ability to maintain profitability amidst shifting policies. If Meta continues to prioritize political alignment over user engagement and satisfaction, it risks alienating a significant portion of its user base. 5. Emergence of new competitors. The rise of competitors like the Chinese startup DeepSeek highlights the evolving nature of the tech landscape. As Meta shifts its focus and resources, it may inadvertently create opportunities for new entrants to capture market share by offering alternative platforms that prioritize innovation and user-centric policies. Companies that adopt open-source technology and prioritize user privacy may become increasingly appealing to users disillusioned with Meta's shifting policies. 6. Public backlash and user reactions. The settlement and Meta's subsequent policy changes may provoke backlash from users and advocacy groups concerned about censorship, misinformation, and the erosion of democratic discourse. This could lead to increased calls for user-driven platforms that prioritize transparency and accountability. As social media users become more discerning about the platforms they engage with, companies that fail to navigate these concerns thoughtfully may experience declines in user trust and engagement. 7. Legacy of Trump and future political campaigns. The implications of this settlement extend into the political arena as well. Trump's settlement with Meta may embolden him and other political figures to leverage social media more aggressively in future campaigns. A more favorable relationship with tech giants could enable politicians to amplify their messaging while navigating content moderation challenges more effectively. This could result in a shift in how campaigns are conducted, with social media playing an increasingly central role. 8. Impact on the metaverse. Meta's ongoing investments in the metaverse, despite reported losses, may be affected by the broader political and social dynamics at play. If regulatory pressures increase or public sentiment turns against Meta's handling of political content, the company may need to re-evaluate its metaverse strategy to align with user expectations and regulatory requirements. The outcome could define how immersive digital environments evolve and how they integrate with existing social media platforms. Conclusion. The historic $100 million settlement between Donald Trump and Meta signifies a convergence of technology, politics, and social media that will likely shape the future of digital communication. As Meta navigates this new terrain, the company will face challenges and opportunities that could redefine its role in the social media landscape. The implications for users, competitors, and the broader political environment will be profound, creating a dynamic and evolving digital ecosystem that continues to reflect the complex interplay between technology and society.